What's your name, buddy? Are you here to buy some medicine? Where are your mom and dad?
Are you lost?
No, I'm not. My name's Ayu, and I'm here because...
Hey there, Chi-Chi. Hi, Gui. What's going on?
Hi, traveler, and...
You've actually come at the perfect time. This little boy seems to have gotten himself lost. I think he must be new to the city. Probably.
No, listen to me.
Your dad? How does a fully grown man manage to get lost in Liyue Harbor?
Well, my dad's always been kind of forgetful. In the past, he was just...
So...
She went out a few days ago to gather some herbs for my dad, but she still hasn't come back. I remembered that the owner of Boo Boo Pharmacy always runs a clinic in Chingsa Village during the Lantern Rite, so I thought, why don't I take Dad to Liyue Harbor to see him there? When we got to the city gate, I took a moment to ask the Millelith guards for directions to the pharmacy. And I asked the Millelith guys to go find him, but he said they won't be able to
You came to the right place. We're
Junction can help.
Hey, who's talking about me?
Changsheng, Chi-Chi meant that as a compliment. Hello, child. You mentioned that you were looking for the owner of Boo Boo Pharmacy.
You have a talking snake? Oh, are you Uncle Baiju?
Uncle Baiju?
Changsheng, now's not the time. My dear boy, could you tell me more about your father's condition, as much as you can recall?
Yes, Uncle... Dr. Baiju.
I see. And your family lives near Chingsa Village, you say? I visit patients there frequently, but I don't recall ever seeing you or your parents.
Uh-huh. My mom doesn't like meeting other people, especially during Lantern Rite. She always tells me to just stay at home and keep my dad company.
Is that so? Ayu, by any chance, is your mother's name Jiangli?
Whoa, yeah, it is. Do you know my mom, Dr. Baiju?
I certainly do. Gui, Chi-Chi, are there any pressing matters in the pharmacy at the moment? Ayu's parents are old acquaintances of mine, so I would very much like to assist with the search. Would the two of you have time to join me?
Don't forget us two. We already told Ayu that we'd help.
Oh, really? Well, that's wonderful. We are...
Chi-Chi and I need to clear up the shop front first, but once that's taken care of, we'll be...
Family...
Thank you. Then I'll leave. Traveler, Paimon, why don't you come with me and Ayu? Let's...
Carving waves.
They searched to the north, but couldn't find anyone who matched the description.
Well, that complicates things. The city folks say there's no sign of him either. We need to start looking further afield. But where are we gonna get the people?
Excuse me, sirs. Have you found out any...
Hey there, buddy.
The boy asked for our help, so we're...
Oh, thank goodness. We were just... As for updates...
The guards at the crossing up ahead said they hadn't seen anyone either, so we don't believe he was heading towards the Guili Plains. But...
Luhua Pool? The terrain there can be tricky to navigate. Let's hope he hasn't run into any trouble.
You will? Oh, great.
Sorry we weren't able to find...
That's okay. Thank you for...
Woohoo! The slippery ground here is perfect for sliding around on a surfboard.
Bring it!
Oh no! It's... Hey, you! Stop! Don't go any further!
Watch where you're going!
Dear customer, Wangsheng Funeral Parlor does appreciate your patronage, but you needn't hasten the inevitable. Are you all right? Huh?
Dad!
Hey, Hu Tao!
My, who do we have here? It's the Traveler in Paimon. My worst nightmare.
I see she still hasn't warmed to you.
Thank you, Director Hu, for saving this man.
Dad, are you okay? Do you recognize me? It's me, Ayu.
You're... Ayu?
Your name is Jiao Liang, and you live just west of Qingsa Village. You were supposed to come to Liyue Harbor to see the doctor.
Oh, my name is Jia Liang.
Uh-oh. He seems in really bad shape. We need to get him back. Sorry, Hu Tao. Gotta dash.
Hold on a second. You're not seriously thinking of taking him to Boo Boo?
Huh?
Oh, come on, Baizhu. Don't tell me you haven't noticed it. Why do I get the sense that you spotted them right away? But you're...
Use what? What are you
There are traces of god remains in Jia Liang's system.
Oh, yes, but more importantly, they're on the verge of an outburst. If that happens...
I'm sorry.
God.
There's no need to... It is the sworn duty of all who practice medicine to cure illnesses and save lives. What reason would I have to neglect? Besides, it was my late master's dying wish to be able to save this patient in particular. Perhaps out of respect for him, you could give me a day's grace so that I have time to treat him?
Now you're bringing my great-uncle into this? But...
Merely to cure this man, nothing more. But of course, if you have any doubt as to my intention...
Oh, really? I thought I was persona non grata at Boo Boo Pharmacy. You're being unusually generous today. Okay, deal. We're not gonna solve anything by keeping Jia Liang here. I'm happy to do it your way, but only for my great-uncle's sake and the travelers, of course.
You must be pleased you brought the traveler along. Otherwise, this would have been a much more vexing ordeal.
Well, time is of the essence. Let's get ourselves back to Boo Boo Pharmacy at once. Blockages within the cardiovascular system, reduced blood flow and energy circulation? I see. I suppose this must have caused the cognitive abnormalities.
Dr. Baizhu, how bad is it?
Don't you worry. Baishu's a really great doctor.
Ayu, do you know when your father first started displaying these symptoms?
I'm not sure. He's...
So it's been a long time indeed. No, I have a treatment plan in mind. Come and see me again tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Dr. Baizhu.
If you still have any misgivings, Director Hu...
However, it would be best if you step outside this room. A doctor...
Yes, of course, absolutely. I'll just go and look at the flowers or something. But I will be back in an instant at the first sign that something's amiss.
See you tomorrow, Baizhu.
Bye for now.
Are you ready, Baizhu?
Ready as I'll ever be. I'm used to it by now.
All's well that ends well, huh? You know, Paimon's kind of curious after hearing Baizhu mention those people from his past. What do you think they were like? Yeah, you must be curious too, right?
idling time on admiring the scenery, the spectacled snake-bedecked docs doing surgery. Hello, you busy bees, and what do you have to discuss with the funeral director today? Actually, don't tell me. Let me guess. From the looks on your faces, you've got some questions for me.
Guilty as charged. So, we were just a little curious about Oh, and also, how come you and Baizhu...
Huh? I thought I told you once before. Wangsheng Funeral Parlor was first founded to fight back against the vengeful wrath of gods defeated in war. Well, it is a dusty old tale by this point. Long story short, in the ancient world, dead gods were acting up, so our ancestors started purifying the air and burning the bodies of the deceased to guard the border between life and death. These days, we don't deal with the wrath of the gods anymore, but all the relevant know-how is still passed down to each generation, so we can identify God's remains when we see...
Okay, Paimon gets it now.
Almost certainly from his master, who was also my great-uncle. Baiju's master was my grandpa's younger brother, a former deputy director of Wangsheng Funeral Parlor.
Wow, fancy that! Huh.
According to my grandpa, he and my great-uncle once went traveling together when they were young. They ended up at Chen Yu Vale, where they met a pharmacist. That pharmacist must have cast some sort of spell on my great-uncle, because after that encounter, he suddenly announced he wanted to leave the family business and go practice medicine instead. My grandpa had a huge argument with him, but he couldn't convince him to stay. So my grandpa inherited the funeral parlor, while my great-uncle stayed in Chen Yu Vale to practice medicine. They never spoke to each other again.
Funeral director to doctor is a pretty big career change. Kinda hard to imagine. But why did it drive a wedge between them for the rest of their lives?
If he had just become a regular doctor, there would have been no issue. After all, the Wangsheng Funeral Parlor wasn't unlike a regular doctor's clinic in the early days. But according to my grandpa, the pharmacist they met had a very ominous aura about him. And on top of that, the kind of medicine practiced in the Chen Yu Vale tradition goes against the natural order of things.
In what way?
Don't know. My grandpa didn't know the specifics, and you've seen how wary Baizhu is around me. He'd never tell me anything. But even that says to me that he definitely has something to hide. One thing I do know about Baizhu is that he's obsessed with the idea of immortality, but whether that has anything to do with what he's hiding is hard to say. Anyway, so I will be sticking around here for now to keep a close eye on the situation. Maybe tomorrow I'll finally figure out what he's up to.
After all that, it seems like... It's a new day! Let's go back to Boo Boo Pharmacy and check out how Jialiang is doing.
Dad!
Are you?
Dad, you remember me!
Yes, I remember now. Oh, Ayu, I'm so sorry. You must have been worried sick.
Don't worry, Dad. I got the Adventurers Guild to help us look for her. And Dr. Baiju's gonna help too.
Great. That's wonderful. I can't thank you enough, Dr. Baizhu.
My pleasure, really. It's the least I can do to honor my late master's dying wish. If anything, I should be apologizing to you for not making the time to visit in all these years.
Not at all, Dr. Baizhu. It's only because Jiang Li... What was her reason again?
You're still in the early stages of recovery, so you'll need to take it easy for a while. Take it slowly and try not to overexert yourself.
I suggest you stay at Boo Boo Pharmacy and rest for at least the next few days.
Director Hu, do you have any further reservations about Jia Liang's condition?
It seems like the evil presence is gone after all. You really did manage to suppress it, huh? But how did you accomplish this in a single night?
That would be a trade secret, I'm afraid. If that gives you any cause for concern, you may continue to monitor Jia Liang for as long as you wish. Though I regret to say that Boo Boo Pharmacy cannot offer to reimburse Wang Sheng Funeral Parlor for any revenue lost in the meantime.
Oh, come on, Baizhu. I'm not that unreasonable.
I've been stuck indoors for too long. Baizhu, take me outside for some air, or I'm going to suffocate.
Yes, of course. Everyone, please excuse Qiangsheng and myself for a moment.
Suffering now, are we? Did you seriously expect to cover it up just by putting on a brave face and ignoring it? If it weren't for my quick thinking, they'd have all seen the sorry state you're in by now. But in any case, why must you keep this a secret from everybody? You should at least share your secret with one person you trust.
Who's there?
Ah!
Why did you follow us here? Oh, it's nothing. I just needed to get some air.
What did I just say about putting on a brave face? Traveler, Paimon, the truth is, instead, he transferred some of his own life force to his patient to temporarily subdue the poison in his system. Baizhu, can you please...
My predecessors in medicine forged a contract with Changsheng. Every successor to this contract is able to use Changsheng's secret art to treat patients. I believe the irregularities with Jia Liang's heart meridian were likely caused by a poison concocted using god remains as a key ingredient. The poison has not been purged from Jia Liang's system. Rather, I infused him with some of my own life force, using Changsheng as the delivery medium. This will suppress the poison's effects for a limited time.
Changsheng? You can do that? Huh. Paimon always thought you were just Baizhu's strange choice of a necklace. Hey, I'll have you know that I commanded the respect of even the Adepti back in Chenyu Vale. If anything, he is my mannequin. I was treating patients with Baiju's master's master long before he ever set eyes on his first medical text. Whoa. Guess you shouldn't judge a snake by its skin.
Please, that's enough.
Wait a sec. Huto was saying that the branch of medicine you studied uses some pretty dubious methods. So...
Hardly. Changsheng helps to keep my chi in balance, so that...
Still, Baiju's life force is not unlimited. We must find a way to... Traveler, Paimon, would you lend this dummy a hand? He needs someone checking up on him, or he'll exhaust himself trying to accomplish everything on his own. Baiju, don't you think you should seize this opportunity? You cannot expect to hide this from everyone for your entire life. Time will see that all secrets surface eventually.
entire life. Thank you, Traveler and Paimon.
Huh. Paimon doesn't think we've seen this side of you. But there's no need to thank us.
The poison in Jialiang's system must have accumulated over a prolonged period. I think I should pay a visit to their family home. And yes, I asked Ayu this morning before you arrived. Let's head there together once I've asked, as well as investigating Jialiang's exposure to the poison.
Carving waves!
Need a surfboard?
Let's ride! Whoa! There's a house all the way out here? Huh. It's so well hidden, Paimon's never noticed it before.
Nor have I. And I've hosted clinics at Qingsa Village many times in the past. If you ask me, Jiang Li was trying to remain unnoticed.
Oh, that reminds Paimon. We meant to ask earlier, but it slipped our minds in the rush to get here.
She was indeed. We studied medicine together under. She is several years older than I and also began her travels far earlier than me.
Supposedly, she met an herb gatherer sometime during her travels and decided to settle down with him.
Wait, Changsheng, are you saying neither of you had
Jiang Li did occasionally come back to Chenyu Vale to see our master, but for whatever reason, she hardly ever talked about her family. The last time she visited us, she and master had some sort of quarrel. We never heard from her after that. It almost seemed as if...
Quarrel?
I don't know. I didn't...
Nor did master ever explain it to me. All he would say is that should I ever encounter Jiang Li or her family in the future, I should do...
Oh, so that's why...
No. Even if my master had never said anything, it would still be my duty as a...
Paimon never knew you were so selfless, Baiju. Paimon...
So a few words from me is enough to dispel all your suspicions? You ought not be quite so quick to relax your guard, Paimon. Sometimes even the good guys have their own private agenda.
What the... Okay, that was the most suspicious sounding thing you've ever said.
Let's leave the idle chatter there for now. Jiang Li has lived in this house for... Let's split up.
Traveler, Paimon, come quick!
What is this?
Changsheng and I found a hidden compartment. This is what was hidden inside.
You sense it too?
Is it?
No, your eyes do not deceive you. I do believe some toxins act a lot like living organisms. I read about this once in The Origins and Symptoms of Diseases. This ancient class of poisons consists of mother and minor loads, capable of sustaining a connection over vast distances. If it's a concoction of this kind we're dealing with, then both the poison in Jialiang's system and this one here are likely minor loads. Offshoots, essentially.
Offshoots? So, the...
Correct. Whoever is administering the poison can manipulate the source to indirectly control the poisoned individual's behavior and even cognition. Similarly, the poisoned individual will hear, to a varying extent, the call of the source.
The call of the... Wait. So, back when Jialiang ran off, maybe that...
Only one thing could have been drawing him there. the source of the god remains used as the poison's key ingredient.
This is getting crazier and Hey, why is it...
Since this poison was carefully hidden away in a secret...
You mean Jialiang?
Think a little harder, Paimon. Someone else who lives here, and who might have expertise in crafting drugs.
Huh? So you're saying... it was Jiang Li? Wait, but that doesn't make any sense either!
I agree. It makes little sense.
Look at the facts, though. How many people in the entirety...
It's too early to draw any conclusions. We should question Jia Liang about it once he has made more progress in his recovery. Yes. According to the origins and symptoms of diseases, the minor So if we can find and destroy the source of these god remains, the poison will leave Jia Liang sick. Do you know anything about god remains in Qingsa village?
Even the history books have no record of this. The only ones who'll know anything are those old fogies who have been hanging around here since the beginning of time.
Didn't you used to be on good terms with the Adepti, though? You sure they didn't tell you anything about this?
Well,
Changsheng's memories and powers are not what they were in her prime. These days, she has to enter a contract with a mortal and share their life force just to sustain her own life. I fear that such ancient events are long gone from her memory by now.
Whoa, what? After a contract? Share life force? Sounds like...
hey! Plenty of people would jump at the chance to join forces with a powerful being like me. With my assistance in rebalancing your chi, not only can you extend your lifespan, but you will also be stronger, healthier, and able to eat whatever you like with no risk of upsetting your stomach.
Stronger and healthier? Wow, that's amazing! Baizhu, maybe when you retire, you can let Paimon sign a contract with Changsheng for a few days.
Unfortunately, Changsheng's contract has strict requirements regarding the host's temperament. None of her hosts have ever been exempted from these rules. I fear that I will be unable to accommodate your wishes, Paimon.
Temperament? Hey! What are you trying to say? Ugh! Paimon's mad! You're getting ugly nicknames, both of you! Baizhu, you're Mannequin Man! Changsheng, you're just a pain in the neck!
This is exactly why your natural temperament makes you woefully unsuited to being my host.
All right, everybody, calm down. Back to the matter at hand. Is there any way at all for us to see...
With how antisocial they are? If it were up to them, they'd go their whole lives without showing their faces to the common folk. What?
Seems you're as well connected as...
Oh, if you're talking about who Paimon thinks you're talking about, you better do...
You called?
Gets Paimon every time.
Are all Adepti in the habit of materializing out of thin air like that?
Well, this is... Baizhu of Bubu Pharmacy. I duped the Lantern Rite when we met briefly. I was unaware of your true identity.
Huh? You two are...
Our paths have crossed once before. I sense the presence of evil spirits. Is this why you called me? So someone has been concocting demonic poison. Too often, fervent desires drive mortals to abandon all regard for their own safety. It is lamentable. I now know what you seek. It is true that a god's remains are buried beneath the foundations of Qingsa village. A vile monster known as the Chi once wrought havoc over this land, before it was subdued by Rex Lapis. The land was finally cleansed of poison when Rex Lapis used statues in his likeness to seal the serpent's remains. Qingsa village was founded some time after that. The seal is still mostly intact, If the Cha is the source, then it must be some of its blood leaking from deep underground. However, its aura is faint and barely detectable. You will need to investigate further to identify the location of the leak. I do not like to intervene against mortals unless absolutely necessary. But when demonic forces are involved, things can spiral out of control. If that happens, be sure to call my name again. Nothing. I do not wish to sway decisions that are mortals to make, but immortality may not be the blessing that you imagine it to be.
I shall treasure your words of instruction, Master Adeptus.
Farewell.
What a strange Adeptus. Rather different from the way I remember them.
That's Xiao for ya! And thanks to him, we finally got some concrete info to go off of.
If the god remains are leaking from underground, Jiangli must be paying a visit to a subterranean cave on her herb-gathering trips. If we can find the cave...
Master! Master, there's a problem.
Gwei? Did you run all the way from Boo Boo Pharmacy?
What happened? Don't panic. Just catch your breath.
It's Jiaoliang. He was fine 1 minute and then he suddenly...
Already? Based on past experience, he should...
It seems that my word... Everyone, back to Boo...
Carving waves!
Dad, what's wrong?
Don't be scared. Dr. Baishu will be back soon.
How is he doing?
Dr. Baiju, you're back! My dad was doing fine earlier, but then he suddenly started coughing up blood. Now he can't even get a full word out anymore.
When Gwei left, he was still conscious. But...
Gwei, please take Jiaoliang to the back...
Yes, of course.
Don't worry, Ayu. I will cure your...
Baiju's not gonna use Changsheng's secret art again, is he? Is there really no other way to save Jiaoliang?
How are you feeling, Dad? Are you still hurting anywhere? You're not gonna suddenly collapse again, are you?
Much better, Ayu. I'm feeling much better. In fact, I can't explain it. Wait, where's Dr. Baiju?
Master said he needed to take a quick rest and asked me to bring you out of the treatment room. He hasn't emerged yet, so he must still be resting.
Oh, really? Well, I don't know how I can begin to repay him for saving my life. Speaking of which...
No,
I'll come with...
Don't forget what Master said. You're still not out of the woods yet, Jiaoliang.
Though, on the bright side, this means I can...
Traveler, Baiju hasn't shown his face ever since he went in to treat Jiaoliang again. Huh?
Huh?
You're finally awake? That was far too risky. Even with me here.
There was no time. I had no other choice. In any case, Jiangli's design is quite brilliant. She makes numerous innovations that I can learn from.
So, how much much longer do you think Baishu's gonna nap for?
They've been outside waiting for you the whole time while you were asleep.
All right.
Surely he hasn't. There's no way he could have just...
Who's talking behind our backs again?
Ah! Baishu! Changsheng!
Of course. There's no need to be concerned. I merely had to transfer a rather large amount of...
Jialiang seemed fine yesterday. Why did he...
I made an error in my initial diagnosis, and as a result, his life force depleted at a greater rate than I had anticipated.
What? You mean, even if you got all the poison out of him?
Yes. But more pertinently, the poison in Jialiang's system is there precisely because it is being used to manage his underlying medical condition. Jialiang has a rare congenital heart condition, and ongoing treatment is essential to maintaining healthy functioning of his heart meridian. Left untreated, it puts the patient at risk of coughing up blood and fainting, and in the longer term, causes irreversible damage to the internal organs. Though it was created from god remains, this formula is not a poison in Jialiang's case. Rather, it's his medication.
Had he not taken it all these years, he likely would have died a long time ago.
Still, using poison to treat a disease is hardly a viable long-term solution. As time passed, and the poison accumulated in his system, it began to impact his cognition. Moreover, the longer he relied upon this medicine, the more resistant his body became to it. Jiang Li had to concoct ever greater quantities to ensure its continued efficacy, or he could have still perished at any moment.
That explains why Ayu said his dad has been getting worse, and why his...
God remains are extremely dangerous to be around, because humans have no natural defense against them. I fear that the situation is just as that Adeptus described. In an effort to...
I never suspected that even Jiang Li would turn to the same path as so many others over the years. Perhaps this is the inevitable course of fate, to sacrifice one's own life to save others, to go beyond human means in order to do the impossible, whatever the cost may be.
Well, I think that it's too early to say with any certainty. In any case, I have stabilized Jialiang's condition for now, so our immediate priority, her regular exposure to god remains over such a long period will have been catastrophic for her health. And given that she's already been missing for several days, I am fearing the worst.
It's me, Traveler, Dr. Baizhu.
It's Jialiang!
Dr. Baizhu, please let me come with you. You've already done so much for my family. I can no longer just sit here and watch while you put yourself at risk. After all, if it wasn't for me, she wouldn't have had to put herself in harm's way in the first place. I'm sure I'll be able to remember. I know there's a spot where she says goodbye to me every time she goes to gather her herbs.
Be careful. If you get too agitated, your blood pressure and stress levels will rise, putting further pressure on your heart.
No! We're out of time! Before I forget everything again.
This trip will be extremely dangerous, and there is a very real possibility that...
I never expected to live this long in the first place. My death is... There's only one thing I fear now, and that's that I'll forget her again before we manage to find her.
Very well.
Dr. Baizhu, are you heading out again?
Yes. This could be a long one. Could please add an extra measure of mistgrass pollen and 1 dose each of the ingredient.
Doc...
Hop to it now. And remember to be careful with the cauldron this time. You don't...
Okay.
Bring it!
Take it easy.
It's just like the day I went missing. It's as if something inside me is trying to guide me somewhere.
The Motherlode's influence is growing stronger. But is it because we're getting closer to the source? Jialiang, can you sense which direction the source...
I think it's... this way. Yes, I'm sure of it. I feel a dull ache in my heart. This must be the way. This place feels familiar. I think I've been here before.
There is an inauspicious presence here.
I think I remember this place.
Jialiang, are you okay?
No, I have to keep going. Then let's hurry.
This place gives Paimon...
The digging marks here appear amateur.
A thieves' tunnel? Paimon has heard rumors about...
Judging by the tools they left behind. But why did they abandon this place without even...
I remember now. She took me here once, but she said that the method would cause me to...
Easy, Jialiang.
Gather!
Strike a pop!
Silence!
Whoa, there's a sensor here. Those treasure hoarders sure made themselves at home.
I believe this sensor was used to burn a monster-repelling incense.
A monster repelling incense? You sure? 'Cause we did run into that group of monsters just now.
The incense was burned several days ago. If I had to guess, the monsters we fought just now were enticed here by some entity deeper inside the cave. No doubt an encounter with the very same entity was what prompted the treasure hoarders to flee and abandon their designs on this cave. After them, Jiang Li was the next person to discover this place and what lies inside. But to her, it presented an opportunity to save Jia Liang's life, albeit as a last resort.
That's right. This sensor, it belongs to Zhongli. Yes, this was the place. This is where I told Zhongli to give me the poison.
Jialiang!
I'm fine. Let's keep going. I can feel...
Stabilize!
I can feel it. We're getting close. We're almost there. It's right up ahead. The place where we made a pact together to...
Aha! We can keep going now!
From the looks of it, the energy released by this mechanism will not only break barriers, but also be conducted by corresponding mechanisms. Perhaps it's something we can make use of.
Doesn't see any barrier-breaking mechanisms around here.
There are tracks here, and it looks like they're connected to something. Shall we follow it and see where it takes us?
Solidify!
Yoo-hoo!
Settle down! Be sanctified!
Zhongli!
There's a monster next to her!
The god remains must have lured them here. Watch my back.
Dr. Baizhu, how serious is it? Is she...
I can still feel a pulse, but her condition is quite grave. The god remains here are encroaching on her cognition, much as the poison in your system did to you. If we don't eliminate it soon, then even if we save her life, I fear that she may never wake up again.
Then, what are we waiting for? Let's destroy the remains right away!
It's not as simple as that. Don't you remember what Baiju said? The poison within Jialiang's body is inextricably linked to the god remains. If the source is purged, the poison in his system will stop having any effect.
And the poison within Jialiang's body is keeping his heart condition under control. So, if it stops working... Oh no. Are you saying...
Indeed. If the god remains here are purged, then your life will come to an end.
I wondered when this day might come.
Wait! But we've all been working our butts off to save Jialiang's life! After all that, we can't just give up on him! Baizhu, you're a great doctor! Surely you gotta know of some other way we can save him, right?
You could continue to take the poison, which would buy you some time. As for Jiang Li, maybe if we put our heads together, we can think of something?
It appears to me that she was striving to concoct your medicine for you, right up until the moment when she lost consciousness. Maybe it's her greatest wish that you will continue to take it and live.
Dr. Baizhu, give it to me straight. How long does Jiang Li have?
The god remains have reached her internal organs. Under ordinary circumstances, I would give her less than 3 days. But if I were to treat her using a secret art...
But what would be the point of that, Dr. Baizhu? I'm all too aware of the dangers of god remains. You are not the first to mention it to me. If I continue to sustain my own life using this wretched substance, not only would Jiang Li have to keep risking her life to make my medicine for me, but I would have to live with the looming threat of these remains breaking out and wreaking havoc not just upon me, but my entire family. I know for a fact that I should have died over a decade ago. The fact that I've been around to see IU grow up is already a great blessing from Rex Lapis. If my choice can bring Jiang Li back, then even if I die...
Jialiang...
After cheating death for so long, it seems I've grown somewhat addicted to life. Traveler, Dr. Baizhu, could I have another minute with my wife?
Of course.
Thank you, everyone. And I'm sorry that I won't be able to repay your kindness in this life.
Jialiang... Baizhu, Changsheng... Is there really nothing else you can do?
I am sure that over the years, Jiang Li will have tried all the conventional methods known to humankind. As for less conventional methods, I have little expertise besides Changsheng's secret art.
Mortals are fated to grow old and pass on when their natural lifespan runs out. If it were so easy to combat the natural processes of aging and death, Jiang Li would not have had to resort to unnatural methods.
What a crazy situation! Jiang Li risked it all to save Jialiang's life, and now Jialiang has to sacrifice himself to save Jiang Li!
I've seen many final farewells in my time, but I can never get used to it.
In the human realm, all things must come to an end. Is it not a fitting end to die for a worthy cause? At least, that's what generations of masters before you have always believed.
The path they chose was indeed a heroic one. But when I think of those who would willingly sacrifice themselves for others, I cannot help but think that theirs are the lives least deserving of death.
When all this began, we agreed that once Ayu was old enough to help you gather herbs, it would be time for me to go. If you could only see him now. He took me all the way to Liyue Harbor to see the doctor. And he even got the Adventurers Guild to search for you. So I know that you'll both be okay without me. I've said my goodbyes. My time has come.
As you wish.
It will eat away at both your cognition and your memories. In the end, you'll become little more than a shadow of your true self.
I'll take it. At the very least, it will allow me to stay with you and watch how you grow up.
Mom, something's really wrong with Dad.
Don't fret, Ayu. I will gather some medicinal herbs right away. I promise you, nothing will happen to our family.
Why would these memories come to mind now? The longer we live, oh, how I would love to hear your voice one last time.
Jialiang! 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 Jialiang!
Dad, are you awake?
Jiangli, didn't I... Huh?
How does it feel to come back to life?
Do you feel strange or different in any way?
Dr. Baizhu.
Dai? You did indeed. As things stand now...
I must...
That's right. Before we set off, I asked Chi-Chi to prepare an elixir of immortality. With its... Of course, this is but a crude imitation of an Adeptus art. Whether it will keep you alive for a few days, a few months, or a few years... But, however long you have left, I believe it should be more than sufficient time for you to say your final goodbyes before departing the world in peace.
An elixir of immortality? How'd you cook that up? Ugh.
It's a work in progress that hardly lives up to its name, and it would have had no effect were it not for Jialiang's iron will. In the end, I am merely a doctor. I understand very little of the great principles governing. All I know is that if I'm presented with a life that deserves to be saved, and even this would have counted for nothing without Director Hu's assistance. After all, did you not tell Jialiang?
Oops. And I'm busted.
Without Director Hu nudging things in the right direction, we may not have found Jiangli in time.
No wonder he didn't mention the elixir back then. I thought he was being frank and transparent with me for once.
Director Hu told me to keep her suggestion a secret.
Never.
All I wanted was to help Jialiang find his missing wife as soon as possible, so that he could be on his way to the afterlife without any unfulfilled wishes making the journey more difficult than it needs to be. Leave it to Boo Boo Pharmacy to snatch the perfect opportunity right out of my hands at the last hurdle. Never mind. One Chi-Chi was enough of a conundrum. The last thing I need's another one. If I'd known this was coming, I'd have whisked him off.
You stay away from my dad! When I grow up, I'm gonna become an even better doctor than Mom and Baizhu, and cure Dad for good!
Oh, is that right? Well, you wouldn't be the first person who's tried to put Wangsheng Funeral Parlor out of business. Traveler, Paimon, I'll catch you all another time.